Good evening and welcome. This evening we'll be discussing the secret of winning the graduate research assistantship and the graduate teaching assistantship scholarship in US universities. Now, we are particular about the US, not because it is the only country, but because they have several scholarship opportunities that can so easily be gotten and won. That's why we spend so much time discussing how to win scholarship in the US. Now, not just any kind of scholarship, that scholarship that comes with some form of payment and allowances. That scholarship is the one we refer to as GRA or the GTA. Now, there are several scholarships. Some scholarships require that you have good grades, you um, apply, and you call for interview, and you're choosing. Those kind of scholarship are available. The Commonwealth Scholarship, the Chevening are examples of such scholarship. There are also some other scholarships, like the one we want to discuss now, that does not pay so much attention to your grades. They, however, are very concerned with what you can offer, what experiences you have. And so the GRA GTA scholarship is that kind of scholarship. In the next few minutes, I'll be discussing with you the secret of winning that scholarship. This is going to be a very interesting one. I would enjoy you to pay attention. I'll discuss this in two parts. In the first part, I will tell you the secrets, and in the second part, I'll tell you how to draft out the document needed to win this scholarship. And quickly, let's go to the definition. When we say GTA GRA scholarship, what do we mean? GRA means graduate research assistantship, and GTA means graduate teaching assistantship. GRA and GTA are forms of scholarship common in the US universities in which a graduate student is employed by the department, faculty, or school to serve as a researcher or as a undergraduate instructor. And in return, the graduate student is paid stipends and a tuition waiver for the duration of the graduate program. Now, it is a very common type of scholarship in the US, and it's a good percentage of it is awarded to PhD students, and a very few is awarded to master students. Now, if you look at the definition again carefully, you get to understand that it is a form of employment. One, two, there is something you're going to give back in return to the university. And so, because there is something they are going to be getting from you in return, there are certain qualifications you must have. There are certain experiences you must have before you can win the GTA or the GRA scholarship. If you don't have these things, or maybe you have them, you don't know how to elaborate them and present yourself properly, you may not be able to win the GTA or the GRA scholarship. Let's quickly make progress to um since we know what it is about. How do we win them? What are they looking at? If we know what we're looking at, we can prepare ourselves in that direction. So let's look at what is the university or the principal investigator or the department or the faculty looking at in a graduate student they want to take for GRA or GTA. One, they want to see if you have a research interest that aligns with what they are doing in the lab, in the department, or in the faculty. Research interest, very important. Now, some of us don't know what a research interest is. A research interest is the subdivision of your BS discipline that you have taken interest in and you want to do further work in it. It could also be an interdisciplinary subdivision of whatever you studied and you want to pursue it. For example, your somebody who studies biology could choose to want to pursue a research interest in infectious biology. It is a branch of biology. Another person may choose to want to pursue a research interest in biochemistry. Another person may want to pursue an interest in bioinformatics or computational biology. A student of political science may want to pick up um, international relations as a research interest. It may also want to pick up peace and war studies as an interest. That person may want to pick up jurisprudence as an interest. So it is a division of whatever discipline you studied that you have decided you found interesting and you want to pursue it further. That is what we refer to as a research interest. Now, everybody has a research interest. If you don't have, that is the first thing you do before you start looking out for a GTA or a GRA position. You must have a research interest. That is the first thing universities are looking out for. And the first thing the principal investigator, the person whose lab you want to work in, or your potential advisor, that is the first thing he wants to look at. He wants to see that your research interest aligns with what he or she is doing. Secondly, the second thing people look at or PIs look at is your academic CV. Now, in this part of the world, we mistake the academic CV to be the same thing as the work CV. It's not the same thing. The academic CV is so different, distinctively different from a work CV. The academic CV has principally about 9 parts, and of this 9 parts, the parts that are very important to show in your academic CV include: one, your bios, that is your name and whatever your email and LinkedIn or Google Scholar ID or whatever you have. Then your academics, your BSc, and all the rest. Your BSc, your MSc, it must be in a reverse chronological order. Then your research interest is also the next thing on your CV. We would spend some time to discuss the CV in detail in the second part of this video series. So then you should have your research experience, you should have your teaching experience, you should have your volunteering experiences well detailed on the academic CV. That is a very important part of your document. Now, other than the academic CV, which we'll discuss later, let's spend some time to talk about your research experience. Your research experience is very important to the PI because, of course, we've mentioned that in a GRA, he wants to employ you as a research assistant. And so, if he's going to employ you as a research assistant, he wants to be sure that you know how to do basic research. You know what constitutes academic research work. You know how to look for relevant literature. You know how to put them together. You know how to find knowledge gap. You know how to reference in APA or the advert style or any other style of academic writing. Is very important. And the good thing is, almost all of us who have gotten our first degree have research experiences. We don't just know how to put it. Please understand that from the time you were given a research project topic in your final year to the day you defended it constitutes a period of research experience. All of that time you spent borrowing materials from the laboratory, from the library, from the lab work if it had lab work, and the writing, the typing, and the defense are all parts of research experience. So you have a research experience, you don't just know how to pencil it down. When in the second part of this section, we'll discuss how to put down our research interest in the academic CV. The second thing or the third thing the PI is interested, if he is going to give you a GTA, is your teaching experience. Please, if you're looking out for getting a GTA this fall and you don't have a teaching experience, please go and look for one. Go to a secondary school somewhere there and teach for free. And if you're a Nigerian and you've done NYSC, you must have had some level of teaching experience. Please understand that it is the secondary school and tertiary institution teaching experience that counts. Teaching primary school will not count. That's because they want you to be able to instruct undergraduate students. And so your experience as a teacher in a secondary school or in a polytechnic, college of education, or university would form a very strong teaching experience for you. Then finally, out there in the Western world, volunteering is a big deal. And so, if you're not volunteering, if you don't have some level of community services, you need to have that. It is some of the very important part. Um, PIs, professors, look at if they're going to award a GRA, a GTA position. For then, if you were looking for a PI and a professor who is going to assess all of this, how do we find this professor? That takes us to the next item on this, the cold mail. The act of reaching out to a potential supervisor or principal investigator seeking for his acceptance to have you in his lab is what we call cold mailing. Now, in my experience, 80% of those who win GRA, GTA positions on scholarship got them by cold mails. It is a very important step, a very, in fact, about the first step if you're planning on winning a GRA, GTA position. And so I'll spend the later part of this discussion to talk to you about the content of a cold mail and how you can send a cold mail. Remember that the cold mail is a solicitation email. You're sending it to someone you've not met before. However, from your choice of words, from the structuring of your letter, he is supposed to decipher the strength of your mind and your ability. Now, seeing that you will not be there to explain yourself to him, you need to be very careful on how you draft your cold mail. So before we go into that, we need to understand what are the preliminary things you do even before you draft a cold mail. There are some things you must do. There are some preliminaries, some um, preambles you need to put together before you attempt writing out a cold mail. What are these preambles? One, you would need to find the professor. Then I've mentioned already that you should have a research interest. I'm not going to repeat it here, but that's the first thing. You need to have a research interest. Two, you need to find a professor whose research interest aligns with yours. Yes, there are so many of them. There are so many persons out there in the world whose um, research interest and research area aligns with your research interest. You need to go out there and look for them. Some places to find them includes Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and university websites. So if you already have some universities you've penciled down in your mind, go down to that website and look out for every university in the Western world have all their academics and their profile on the website. Look for them, their research interest and research area, and published works are always listed on the university website. So you look at them one after the other, and you'd find professors whose research area aligns with yours. When you find them, you need to put down their email because you will need that email address to submit your mail. Then next, you need to look up their research work. Almost every researcher have his research work in Google Scholar and ResearchGate. You need to use their email, use their name, and find them on Google Scholar and on ResearchGate. Now, what are you going to look out for? You're going to look out for one or more of their recent research that fits what you're trying to look out for in their lab. say for example you're a student, a graduate of political sciences, and you are interested in international relations. You need to go and look out for his or her research work that is on war, peace, and whatever interest you're interested in. You need to pick that name, because when you'll be writing your cold mail, you would refer to that particular publication and how it has interested you to reach out. And number four, you need to have, of course, you need to go and make your email a professional or an official address. Some of us don't use official email address. We use email address that cannot be linked to us. Please understand that an official email address is that email address that has your name. For example, my name is Moses Udoiso. My my official email is udoisom@gmail, not kissmequick@yahoo.com or beautifulgirl@gmail.com. Those kind of emails are what we call a swagolicious email and unofficial email. Most of the times when you send people emails with such addresses, they don't read them. That's if the email will even deliver, or it will be sent to spam, because your email address doesn't look like that of a human being. And so when you have an official email, you also need to have an email signature. I will drop this on at the end of this video, what it means to have an official email and what an email signature looks like. Then when you have all these four things, you can now go to the last, where you draft the email. I'll quickly want to help you with showing you how to search for a professor on Twitter. I said you could find professors on Twitter, you could find them on LinkedIn, you could find them on Google Scholar, you could find them on university website. I'll just make one example where I find a professor in a particular area on Twitter. How to find a professor on Twitter. How to find a professor
Okay, so on
on
Twitter,
Twitter.
I want to look for
There you go.
professors in public health. So I go to the search bar and I type professors in public health and I click. Allow it spin. I will go to people. So it shows me only people. I have plenty professors of public health all displayed here. Remember I said you should look out for associate professors or assistant professors. The reason is full profs are already at the peak of their career. They rarely would have funding, but associate and assistant would always have funding. So let's say I am interested in getting this professor's email. I will simply hold on this and our details will show. This is our bio. My bio, I could scan to see if I could see her email. Her email is not here, but I know she is at the University of Southampton, and so I could copy her name. I already have seen her area of research. She is in epidemiology, which is a very interesting part of what I'm looking for. I will take that to Google. I'll go to Google and I'll put in that and ask for our email. I confirm my pictures. As I scroll down, I already have documents showing our email. If I click this our email already, I could pick our email and I have the email of our professor. As expected, I can now go ahead to send her a cold mail. Okay, so on Twitter, I want to look for professors in public health. So I go to the search bar
how
and I
you
type professors in public
send
health
or
and I
find
click.
a professor in your area
I'll
on
light spin.
Twitter.
I
So
will
when
go
you
to
have this
people.
professor and you have its
So it
email
shows me
or her
only people.
email, you can now
I
go
have
ahead
plenty
to
professors
begin
of
to
public
draft
health
your
all
um,
displayed here.
your cold mail. Now, what are the components of the cold mail you're going to draft? Cold mail, like I said before, is a solicitation email to someone you've not met before, but you want to use that mail to please him or her. I want him or her to be attracted to you with that email. So what do you do? It has components. First, it has a subject line and a salutation. Your subject line needs to be very catchy. To be very catchy, not just some. You need to pull on something that would make him want to or her want to open the mail, interested in your lab, potential graduate student of for your lab. I'm interested in your work. These are some headings you would use. Then salutation, dear sir, dear professor, dear doctor, and their last name, not their first name, please, their last name. When you're done with that, the next thing that you go into is introduction. The opening of that mail is introduction. It needs to introduce you. I am this and this, a BS graduate of physics from the University of Icon, and I have this and I have that. I am interested in working with you in your lab. This is why I am writing. So in the first paragraph, you need to have your introduction and the purpose of your writing. In your second paragraph, you need to have statement of interest. Statement of interest means why are you writing this, professor? What did you see that interested you to want to write him? Statement of interest is your second paragraph. You need to be very particular. You know, tell him that while going through the net, or while you were looking at Google Scholar, you saw his work on this particular topic and that interested you. That's why you want him to be a supervisor. You want to work with him in his lab. You want him to coach you. You want to mentor you to flourish in your own research area that aligns with his. Your second paragraph is very important. Most professors and PIs pay attention to it. And the third paragraph is your abilities and experiences. Yes, you want to do a research work in war and peace studies. What abilities do you have? What research tools can you use? What computational tools can you use? This is where you mention it. I can use Excel, I can use SPSS, I can use Python, I could use Java for this and this. I have done this and this before. This is where you mention them. And finally, call to action. Very important. The last paragraph is call to action. You would this is where you mention that you look up or you're expecting them to reach out and you're ready to give any further information should they want it. Now, I will also give you several samples of a cold mail below this video. At the end of this section, I'll give you several samples of what constitutes a very strong cold mail. Now, the cold mail is not done yet. Before you submit your cold mail, you must mention that in the last paragraph, in that call to action paragraph, that you're going to attach your academic CV, your academic transcript, and some 2, 3 professors who can reference you. That's the attachment part. Your cold mail is not complete if it does not have your academic CV, your academic transcript, and names of references in one document in PDF attached to the mail. Now, we don't write out the cold mail by hand. We type it into the mailbox, into the email box, and the academic CV and the academic transcript and references would be attachments to the mail. And when you have all of these, you can now click send. Now, if you do this properly, professors already know that this is one way students get to interact with them. So they are very open to reading your mail. As far as you obey these rules of sending cold mails, they would always be ready to open your mails and read them and get back to you. Now, after 2 days of sending your mail, if they don't get back to you, you are allowed to also send a follow-up mail. A follow-up mail will simply read, sorry to bother you. I sent the mail 2 days ago. Peradventure, out of a busy schedule, you could not get to see the mail. This is a gentle reminder, and this is who I am, and all of that. That is done exactly 2 days after your mail, you sent your mail, and the reply to that mail has not come. After one or two follow-ups, if it is not coming, just know that it's not going to reply you. Move on to the next. But ensure that every time you're sending a cold mail, you follow these strict rules of cold mailing. Now, if you're good with that, if you now understand what the cold mail is, let's move to the next item where we discuss the academic CV. The academic CV is an accompanying document to the cold mail. Hence, it must be very ideal because after the professor finishes reading your email, the next thing he wants to look at is your academic CV. If your academic CV does not present you in good light, then you have just wasted the time. Thank you for listening to this section. Let's move on to the next section of how we win GRA and GTA scholarships.